All right, it's back here on the 1978 Toyota pickup, and yeah, took that spindle off also. So, talked to the guy I got all the parts from, sent over some specs for all the different sized spindle holes that I had for where the ball joints mount, and it wasn't working. After I took this one off, I could see that the ball joint had split. Yeah, there you go. Because it had got squished so far that it split. The top ones were all fine. I measured all the spindles with a set of calipers where the ball joints are at. There's just a bunch of numbers over there, but the top ones are the two smaller numbers, and then the bottom ones. But they use the same ball joint, so it's a K772 part number. And so the fact that this large hole here, is like 3/10 smaller, and then the other side was basically the same. So here it's like 3.5 smaller. The top ones all fit pretty good, and then the bottom ones were super loose and just going in too far. So yeah, gotta get some new spindles, so that's sort of a bummer. I did try the next size up spindle, so that is a K727, and so this is the larger size spindle, but it was way too big. The bolt wouldn't even go inside the bottom of the spindle at all. And so some of the Mustang 2 suspensions say that they have a different lower than an upper, and the lower that most people say they use is this K727, but that didn't work. Not for me anyway. So like I said, I sent those off, and he'll figure it out hopefully and get back to me. So I've been working on sealing up the engine, and so this is quite the process. And so as far as parts that I got on here right now, so I got the new oil pump on with the new seal, and then it's got a couple of O-rings on the back of it. So if we look at the old one here, so there's a couple of O-rings that are on the block that seal these passages, and then you use some fancy Toyota FIPG whatever glue, and you follow the groove on the inside. You don't put any on this other groove here. That's just where like overflow would go in, so you don't put any in that groove. You just follow that inside all the way around, and then circle up all of the bolt holes. There's no gasket. You just put that glue on there and squash it on. There's not really any good alignment, so what I had done was take some longer bolts and ran those through first and got everything lined up where I needed it to be, and then smushed the whole thing on there nice and straight. And then after I had those longer bolts in, I took them out and I just put the regular size bolts. So there's no sealant like these bolts here that aren't even ran in at all. There's no sealant on this outer edge, so I'm not worried about tightening that down. It's these smaller bolts on the inside where it needs to get sealed. So I got all those put in, so not too bad to get that on. This is like some fancy upgraded oil pump. It's got logos and crap on it because it's apparently super fancy, to be able to run a bit higher volume, and allows you to run a bit thicker oil as well. So that's going to be a good upgrade, and instead of me having to worry about oil pressure, I should have real good oil pressure. So that's great. You could see some goop on the top. And so after you get the oil pump on with goop and O-rings, then you can put the oil pan on, And that's the same. It looks basically the same as the oil pump, where there's a groove all the way around the inside of it. You fill the groove up with goop and circle all of your bolt holes, and then just go around. It says it only has like a 15-minute working time, and so that's a bit panicky because, you know, the area, I mean, you go all the way around through there, all the way around to the other side, and then over here to this side. So, you know, it's a ton of surface area, and you got a ton of bolts too. So after you get that line following the groove, then you got to circle all your bolt holes. And so, like I said, I mean, it's pretty panicky to try to get all that done in 15 minutes, get that slop down on there, and then start tightening those bolts down. For this one, you do have a couple of alignment bolts that come through. So these ones come through, and so you can align on that. And then there's a dowel pin right around in this area here, where there's a dowel pin where it gets lined up on the back side. So that one's not too bad with alignment, because you can just slide it over the top of this one on both sides. You know, and the other thing that's nice is you got a little handle here, so you can hold on to this little guy, and then obviously there's a bunch to hold on over there. And so alignment on that's not real bad. You can just, you know, hook up these through bolts and slop it down, and then get to tightening as fast as you can. So that's, like I said, it's not real fun, but got that done. Not a real clean job though. I mean, I don't know about all that sticking out. I don't particularly like it, so we'll see. After it fully cures, maybe I'll go back with the blade and knock some of that stuff off. Then, you know, the pan, this needs to get fully assembled. I got the old pan over here, so I had to go with the rear sump. This is a front sump. And so the pan's got a baffling and pickup and all kinds of stuff inside of there. So you got to get all that totally assembled first. There's definitely a bit of a tricky order of operations, because you got to get this pan fully glued down and bolted, because there are some bolts, and you can see where the bump out is here and here and here, that come through. And if you put your baffle on first, which it would be nice to do, then it covers up where those bolts go, and then you'd be in a panic in order to get the baffle and pickup and everything disassembled. So you actually got to put this piece completely disassembled on first, and then after that, you know, you could put together the baffle and the pickup and all that other stuff. So, you know, that could have been a mess. Fortunately, I caught it and didn't do that, but, you know, that could have been a mess. You see that I do have a busted sensor here. So that's the oil level dummy light. And, you know, this is all busted in there. And I'll end up seeing what I can do. I'm not sure. For whatever reason, everywhere has block-off plates for that, as though nobody cares if their oil level goes low. And then finding replacement part for that ain't turning out to be real easy. So we'll see what I end up doing there. You know, if I got the sensor, I'd like to have it, but it's busted, so we'll see what happens. It's sealed right now, and so I can still, you know, continue to do some other work, but see what I end up doing with that. If I can find a replacement one, that'd be cool. Then on the pan, there was a plug in here, which I have no idea why anyone would do that. So this rubber plug was in here, which is like, why in the world would you need a rubber plug when you have a drain plug? Like, it's not like you could take this out and then do what? Like, I don't know. Like, you couldn't like take a test and then put it back. Like, who knows? Some crazy person thought that an oil pan should have a plug on it and also a way to drain it. So I just ended up welding that shut. So this is stainless steel. So I just got a stainless steel bolt In this case, an Allen head bolt that fit in there real snug. And, you know, where the hole was, I just sort of tapped down that Allen head bolt, you know, smooth in there, and then just TIG welded with some stainless steel rod all the way around that to get it sealed. And then I let it sit with water on the inside of it for a couple hours just to make sure I didn't have a little pinhole or something. But that sealed up fine. So this is looking pretty good. I'm, you know, happy to finally see some progress here. So the next thing will be to get the water pump installed. Then I can put the timing on and all kinds of other stuff. So I think I'm getting to the point to where I'm, you know, basically can assemble this all the way, which is cool. So, all right, yeah, I'll get back on the rest of that, and hopefully I got all the parts that I need, because, yeah, you know me, I'm probably missing something that I need. All right, catch you on the next one. Thanks, bye.